Welcome. We're going to start lying down. And just bring your knees towards your chest. One hand on each knee. And just give your knees a little squeeze, peeling the tailbone up from the floor. And just gently start to rock from side to side. A little massage out through the back. And what I've got in store for you this morning is a class inspired by the fact that it was the full moon on Thursday. Those of you that may be looking out your window might have seen this enormous supermoon, the last supermoon of the year. So we're going to do a lot today that focuses on really softening any hard edges, almost just emulating those soft curves of the moon. So as you continue just with that first little rounding action through the lower back, you might want to bring the knees to the chest. Pick up your head and see if you can catch hold maybe of your wrists or even towards your forearms. So as you lower your head, you're bringing your knees a little closer in towards the chest. And then you might just want to rock or just linger in stillness there. So you're getting quite a nice release for the lower back there. So a little look there. So gentle rocking there. And during this period of a full moon, it's said that energetically we can become a little bit anxious, over-emotional, maybe a little bit frantic. Some of us don't sleep quite so well. So the yogic antidote to that is to move very slowly and to stay quite close to the earth, to feel grounded, almost to counteract all of that kind of upward pull of energy towards the moon. So with that little rocking, let's start to make that a little smaller until very gradually you bring the body to a semblance of stillness, knees towards the chest. Just bringing your nose towards your knees, coming into that little ball, rounding up, getting that nice release for the upper back and the lower back. And then let's lower the head, bring the feet down to the floor. We'll keep the soles of the feet on the earth, walking the feet a little wider than hip width, allowing your knees just to touch together there. So you're making a deep inverted V shape in the legs. You might just want to pick up your hips and snuggle your tailbone down towards the end of your mat. You might want the arms relaxed alongside you with the palms up. Or if you're feeling a little bit discombobulated, you might want one hand on your chest and one hand on your lower belly. Allowing your elbows just to rest easily on the floor if you've chosen just to have your hands resting on your body there. And let's begin to take a moment now to just arrive at the practice this morning. It can be quite hard when we're working from home. Our homes have become our office, almost multi-purpose now. Offices, nurseries, schools, yoga spaces. It's almost marking that transition now from whatever you've been doing this morning, be it work, reading newspapers, feeding children, doing whatever we fill our Sunday mornings with, just now to begin to arrive into that space for your yoga practice this morning. Maybe allowing the eyes just to gently close. I'm going to focus a lot today on some soft curves through the body, so just working into lateral, the sides of the bodies, which again will help us breathe, open up some space for the breath. And we'll start with a very simple breathing technique, taking it from Qigong. Just continuing with that theme of all things planetary, it's called orbital breathing. So on your next inhale, imagine that breath traveling all the way up from your pubic bone, up the front of the body, all the way up to the very crown of your head. And as you exhale, imagine that breath traveling down the back of your body, from the crown of the head all the way down towards your tailbone. So making that orbit, that circuit the breath travels, inhaling all the way up the front of the body, lifting the chest, lifting the belly, and then exhaling, softening and releasing the back body into the earth as you exhale. So you might want to give that breath colour, a light, almost imagine two streams of light. Colour travelling up the front of the body, lifting and opening as you breathe in. And as that stream of light or colour travels down the back seam of the body, just allow yourself to feel grounded, earthed.
connected to the space beneath you. So the shoulder blades can begin to soften and broaden. Lower back can begin to release. The feet are wide, toes are spread. So this breath has almost no beginning, no end. It's a circuit of breath. Throughout the practice, almost trying to keep that circuit of breath. So there's no speed bumps or hard edges between each inhale and exhale. There's a real sense of seamless flow. Let's do a couple more rounds, just again, breathing up the front of the body. So if you've got your hands resting on your chest, your belly, you're bringing the breath into the space beneath your hands, but then that sense of release, we need that. We need that strength and revitalizing quality of the inhale, but also that release of the exhale. And just allow the breath just to settle back into an easy rhythm, but try and again keep that seamless quality of breath throughout the practice, that circuit of breath. And very gently, let's extend both legs and bring both arms back above the head. And if the shoulders feel tight today, rather than having your upper arms alongside the ears, it might be more comfortable just to take them into a nice wide V shape. And begin to find a little bit of space. The back of the hands might be resting on the floor, opening up to receiving that breath into the space above you, behind you, in front of you, opening up into that space. Then we'll just bring the right knee into the chest this time, both hands on the knee, getting that knee a little squeeze, that same sense of gentle release into the back of that right hip. And you might just want to release your left hand now, just down onto the front of your left hip, so you can start to circle that right knee. Just using that right hand as a bit of a guide to steer. It's not pushing or forcing, it's just kind of steering very gently that knee round in as big and spacious a circle as feels comfortable, getting into the hips. Trying to keep the lower back feeling nice and balanced. You're not rocking from side to side. Easing some movement into the hip. And then let's bring the right knee down to the chest and pause there. And you might find that that knee wants to kind of drop down a little bit towards your armpit, beginning to open into the hip a little bit more. And if you're doing that with me, that right knee coming down towards your armpit, just take care that that left heel is still pressed down into the floor, toes up towards the ceiling, and you're pressing into that left buttock so you're feeling nice and even across the lower back and the hips. And then let's release that left arm all the way back behind you once more. Back of the hand touches the floor, it might be in a wide V. And that first sense of breathing into the side body now as you extend and open into that left side of the body. Fingertips reaching back, heel pushing away from you as that right knee drops down towards the armpit. Let's take a breath or two just there, finding that space. And then right knee comes to the chest. Both hands come back down to that right knee. Left hand now to the knee. Right arm, just let it drop shoulder height, palm up towards the ceiling. We're going to come into our first twist. So we'll begin to take that right knee across the body. Just rolling onto the outside edge of that left leg. Maybe you want to turn your head the opposite way. I have a most satisfying clunk in my back when I start doing twists. So the aim isn't to bring the knee down to the floor, it's just to find that first sense of rotation through the spine. So whatever feels comfortable for you today. And then very slowly, let's come back. Extending both arms, both legs again, revisiting that full body stretch, but we'll add a little bit of side body extension now. So you step your left leg out to the left, so it might come off your mat. And then the right leg comes across to join it. So you're making a little arc through the lower body. And you can keep the legs together, or you can cross your right ankle on top of the left, pressing into the right buttock. So again, lower back feels even. Catching that right wrist, reach that right arm across to the left, just rolling your chin down towards your left shoulder. So you're making that lovely arc through the side body there, this time the right side of the body, getting a nice sense of space. So again, just keep dropping the weight into that right buttock so the front of the hips stay relatively square towards the ceiling. And you might feel a bit of release in the hip there, a bit of openness through the armpit. Lovely. And then releasing back through center, coming back momentarily to that full body stretch, bringing the legs back, the arms back, reaching, Flexing the feet maybe, pulling the toes towards your face. And then let's just bring the left knee. We'll try all of that on the left side. So left knee comes into the chest. Both hands on the knee initially, just giving that knee a little squeeze. Try to stretch that right heel away from you. Toes up towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to bring my right hand just down to my right hip. Just helps me keep a little bit of stability there as I circle the left knee. It might be small circles. Doesn't matter which direction you're going at all. Just almost get the sense of oiling that big hip joint, the meeting point of the body, built for stability. Get quite tight, especially if a lot of us are spending a lot of time sitting through interminable Zoom meetings, it might seem. And then we're going to bring that left knee down towards the chest, or if you can, more towards your armpits. There's a little bit of hip opener there, but make sure that that right foot doesn't start to flop out to the side. Just keep stretching the heel away from you. And again, if it feels comfortable, right arm elongates back above the head. And we're getting that delicious sense of space and stretch into the right side of the body once more. Opening up, almost imagine you can breathe into that right lung. Nice, and then left knee comes to the chest. Both hands come onto that left knee. And then just the right hand stays there. Left arm, just shoulder height, palm up towards the ceiling. And you bring that left knee across the body as far as it wants to come, rolling onto the outside edge of that right leg. Maybe the head wants to turn in the opposite direction. So again, the aim isn't to bring the knee to touch the floor. If it touches the floor, then great, you might be got a little bit more rotation than some of us here. Shoulder blade might have lifted. Just get a little bit of movement. Explore that movement in the spine today. And then we'll come all the way back through center, coming back to that full body stretch, extending arms and legs. And then again, that little half moon stretch, so the right leg this time comes off the mat. Left leg comes across to join it, so you're making that little half moon shape. You can keep the feet together, or left ankle crosses on top of right. But then again, press down is that left bottom, square up through the hips. Catch the left wrist and arc that left arm overhead, over to the right, just rolling your chin down towards that right shoulder. And you might find that one side feels, I can feel that this side feels stiffer than the other. It might be the way that we cross our legs. Something I've noticed when I'm sitting at my desk, I always cross my legs the same way, so it's inevitable that one side is going to feel a little tighter than the other. So worth thinking about, especially if we are spending more time seated now. And then slowly, let's come back through center. A nice inhale as you reach out into that full body stretch. And then as you exhale, let's give both knees a little squeeze, bringing one hand to each knee, knees to chest, maybe rounding up nose to knee, shoulders away from the ears. And then lowering the head, widening the knees, and just hook one ankle on top of the other. And have a little massage out through the low back as you take the knees round in a circle. Almost tracing that path around the back of the pelvis there. And then just pausing, changing the cross of your ankles and then the direction of your circle. Just to balance things out. We're going to make our way onto all fours. So you can unhook your ankles, just roll onto one side and then join me, or catch hold behind the knees and have a little rock, maybe a couple of times, space permitting. Rocking up through the back, seeing if you can balance at the top perhaps. And then we'll come all round onto all fours. So we'll all meet on all fours. And just take care, I'll show you one move we're going to do. It's perhaps appropriately for a house with a cat. It's called a cat's tail. So we're going to take one leg out behind us. We're not going to do it now, I'll just show you so you can arrange your space. And then that leg, you're going to sweep all the way out to the side, almost bringing your toes up towards your hand. And then we're going to circle it all the way back and take it over the other foot. So we're making a real lovely arc with the foot. Option will be to hover the foot off the floor and flex the foot. That's going to get more into the hips. But we'll start, just make sure you've got some space behind you. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips there. Let's find that nice long spine. And imagine now you've got that tail. You're going to wag your tail over to the right. So shift your hips over to the right and look over that right shoulder. So you're shortening off through the right waist and getting that nice sense of stretch in the left. And then wag your tail the opposite way, hips to the left, looking over the left shoulder. And just wag your tail from side to side now. You might just want to inhale as you shift to the right and exhale to the left. See if you can firm up a little bit through the lower belly, so your lower back isn't uncomfortable there. And see if you can keep the weight even across the hands. So you're really, again, freeing up some movement into the pelvis and into the lower back. Let's do one more little curious puppy wagging his tail over to the right, having a little peek towards your tail, and then over to the left. And then coming back through center, gazing towards the top of the mat, just the right leg this time. We're going to increase the length of the tail. So take the leg back behind you, ball of the foot to the floor, push into the hands, firm up through the belly. And we're going to keep the toes on the floor initially, slide the right foot out to the right in a big arc, seeing if you can bring your toes towards your right hand. And then again, toes stay on the floor. We arc all the way back behind you, turning to look over the left shoulder as you reach that foot out to the left. So looking to the right as you circle the leg all the way over to the right. Toes coming towards the foot, towards the hand, and then all the way across. So just moving now from side to side. You can keep the toes on the floor or pick up the foot, just let it hover a few inches from the floor and really strongly flex the foot. And you might find that that adds a deeper stretch into the hip. Just notice if you're beginning to swing the body from side to side. So if you keep the body still and just get that movement shifting into the hips side to side so the upper body stays relatively still. Let's do one more, sweeping that right leg out to the right, trying not to lean over to the left. And then this time we'll bring the ball of the foot to the floor, crossing it over that left foot, looking back towards the foot, stretching the heel away from you. So you're getting that nice sense of space in the back of the knee. So you can stay here, just pushing the hands into the floor, getting that nice kind of rounding or arc shape through the body. Or shift the weight into the left hand and reach the right arm forwards and then arc that right arm over to the left. And then if you wish, you can just hover that right foot off the floor. So it's a little bit of a balance challenge. Let's have a look. So your right arm and your right leg are arcing over to the left. Drop your right shoulder a little bit. So make sure that your upper back is level if you've got the arm lifted. Beautiful, embrace the wobbles as you bring your hand back down and bring that right leg back behind you, stretching the heel away from you, ball of foot to floor. Option this morning to stay here or tuck the left toes under and push into that left knee and come into a three-legged dog. Right leg comes all the way up and back behind you, stretching your rib cage towards your thighs. And just have a little twirl through that right foot. Just circle off through the ankle there. Just a couple of times each way. And then bring both feet down to the floor and drop back down onto all fours. Let's take a cat-cow here just for variety. So as you inhale, let's lift the heart, tip the belly, lift the tailbone. And exhale this time, that lovely rounding and curve comes through the back like an angry cat. Inhaling. Let's do a couple more of those. So that lovely lifting of the chest. Try and keep the neck nice and long. And then that rounding of the upper back. Tucking the tailbone under just once more. So that soft curve through the spine. Really nice to release. And then we'll try that cat's tail, as it's called, with the left leg. So left leg this time comes back behind you. Ball of foot to floor. So just look to the left as you bring that left leg out to the left, bringing your toes towards that left hand. And then we circle the foot all the way back behind you, looking over the right shoulder as you sweep that leg out to the right. So again, you can keep the foot on the floor. And just notice if the body's starting to lean over to the right. I can feel that this is harder on this side for me to try and keep centering to the mat. So you can keep the toes down or lift the foot, flex the foot, and you just hover that foot a few inches from the floor. And that should deepen that stretch in the hips. We're going to work on hips next week. Oh, this side feels tighter. Let's do one more. So we're swinging that leg over to the left, toes pointed up towards the top of the mat. And this time we'll bring the foot to the floor. So we're stepping that left foot behind the right, ball of foot to floor, stretch the heel away from you. Look back towards your heel. So you're opening up through the back of the knee. Option to stay there, hands stay where they are. Or shift the weight into the right hand. Left arm this time reaches forwards, and then we reach over to the right, trying to drop that left shoulder. Beautiful. And then if you want a challenge, you lift that left foot just off the floor a few inches. Yes, embracing whatever wobbles we feel there. Stretching and breathing. Beautiful, don't hold the breath. And then bring the foot down, bring the hands down. That side was hard. And then we'll bring that left leg back behind you. Tuck the right foot under, option to stay there, or push off that right leg coming into a three-legged dog. Left leg all the way up and back. And take a little turn through the ankle there. A little circle off through the foot. A couple of times each way. Beautiful. And then bringing both feet down into that downward dog. Have a little walk, hands towards, feet towards, hands, whatever works for you. So we meet somewhere in the middle in a forward fold. Soften the knees. And let's take hold of opposite elbows. And begin to draw a little half moon shape over your toes as you begin to sway from side to side. Allow the crown of the head just to drop down towards the earth. Lovely, just gently swaying the arms, moving from the waist rather than the elbows pulling you frantically round. And just coming back to center, letting your arms dangle in front of you. If you know you get a head rush, just bring your hands onto your thighs, lift your head, and then just hold there for a breath or two and then come to stand. If you're okay with rising up, let the arms hang in front of you, chin to chest, roll your way up to stand. Slowly, slowly, head's the last thing to come up so you don't get that head rush at the top. Oh, beautiful. I'm just going to turn to face you just so I'll show you what we'll do for this first part of our flow. But we need to be at the top of your mat. So the length of the mat behind you. We'll start to build our little slow flow. I'll turn to face you. Lovely, and I'll mirror you just so if you're confused with what we're doing. So just lift and spread the toes. Let's come back to that sense of feeling grounded. So lift and spread the toes, have a look down towards them. And as you release your toes down towards your mat, can you keep the colour of your mat between your toes? Can you keep them so wide and spread? Lovely. Again, just feeling earthed and grounded there. Just the right arm, we're going to reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Then looking down towards that left foot, bend the knees. You're going to reach the right arm across the body, down towards your left toes. And then your left arm takes over, sweeping across the body, coming all the way back up to center. So you're drawing a big graceful arc and then release the left arm back down alongside you. Right arm lifts, inhale. Lovely stretch to the upper back as you exhale, reaching down towards that left foot. Left arm takes over, inhale, circle it forwards and up. Exhaling down, lovely, a couple more times, right arm lifts. So you reach across the body, so it's a lovely stretch for the upper back, and then the left arm circles all the way back up through center, lovely, just once more. So it's a really nice release for the shoulders, the upper back, as well as that lovely sense of softening our hard edges, lovely. So this time let's raise both arms, inhale, sweep the arms up, here we go, slow flow, exhale. Take the arms out nice and wide, let the chest sink down, coming to a wide forward fold. Hands to floor, shins or thighs, lift the heart halfway, inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands down, and just the right leg steps back, bringing the knee to the floor. And keep the toes tucked under for today. Lovely. So back of the hands are going to lead you up into that crescent lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms up, let the fingers be soft. And then turn the palms up as you exhale, almost offering the arms down towards the earth. So inhale, carrying you up into that crescent lunge, maybe lifting the chest into that little back bend. And as you exhale, palms up, beautiful. So there's a real softness. Last time, all the way up. So it's slowly, no rush in this full moon flow. So this next time, we'll sweep both arms up and then turn the palms in to face one another. Lovely. And then just the right arm is going to reach down towards the floor. And the left arm's going to reach over to the right. So you're going to come again into that little lateral stretch. Some of you might be able to reach the floor. Inhale, both arms lift. Other side. So try to keep the shoulders above the hips as you reach that left arm down. Right arm reaches overhead. Lovely. One more each way. Inhale, reach up tall. So you're getting that little pushing of the hips over to the left as you reach the right arm down. Lovely, all the way up, emulating the soft curves of the moon and the earth as you reach that left arm down, right arm over. Beautiful. Inhaling both arms up. And this time as you exhale, bring the hands down, frame the foot, but we'll stay on fingertips. lifting into the chest, take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's shift the hips back. Begin to explore a stretch in the front leg. Inhale, send the hips forward, heart open. Exhale, shift the hips back, maybe beginning to explore, straightening the leg, pulling the toes towards the face. Working with the breath twice more, inhale. Try and keep the chest open as you come forwards. Remember, you can always keep the knee bent and the foot on the floor as you rock back. Lovely. Just once more, inhale. So we get that nice sense of stretch in the hip, and then as you send the hips back, we're stretching into that left hamstring. This time, let's bring that left foot to the floor, plant the hands, pick up the back knee, and step back into that downward facing dog. And this first downward dog, let's have a little walk out through the feet, so you're pressing grapes there. And really try and soften those hard edges of your downward dog. So make sure that the head feels heavy, maybe shake the head or nod the head a couple of times. Make sure the weight is spread evenly between the hands and that the fingers are wide, pressing down into finger pads and the base of your knuckles. And as you find the stillness, let's have a softness in the knees. Imagine you want to send your pubic bone up between your legs towards the ceiling so that the lower back is spacious and open. Beautiful. As you lower down onto all fours, pick up your shins and cross your ankles. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, lower the body down, releasing the chest to the floor and stretching the legs out behind you. Arms come nice and wide. Let the head hang. And as you inhale, come into a cobra. Head hangs. And top of the inhale, we lift the chin level with the floor. And exhale, stretch the chest all the way down. So it's a real slow flow. Twice more, let the head hang. Inhale, stretching the toes back. Front of the hips heavy. Exhale, earthing the chest all the way down. Lovely, just once more. So there's a real heaviness of the head. And then that just at the very last drop of inhale, you lift up and then come all the way down. Hands alongside the shoulders, pick up the shins. Cross the ankles, push up all fours. Release the feet, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. You might need to walk your feet in a step or two if you feel a little bit long. And then bending your knees deeply, sit back towards your heels and take your gaze forwards between your hands. And on an inhale, step, spring or help your right foot forwards. Exhale the left. Big rise up to stand as you inhale. Exhaling hands to heart. We're going to do that on the left side. One movement, one breath. So speeding things up a little bit. So this time, left arm reaches all the way up. Take an inhale. As you exhale, reach it down towards the right foot. This arm circles, right arm takes over, sweeping up as you inhale. And exhale, release the right arm. So left arm lifts, inhale. Getting that nice stretch across the body as you exhale, bending the knees as much as you need to. Right arm circles forwards and up, inhale. And release it down twice more. So I love this one for my upper back, which can get really tight. So the more we stretch that left arm across the body, last time, the deeper the stretch across the upper back. So again, we can modify depending on how the back feels. Last time, circle the right arm forwards and up. Exhale, release the right arm. Both arms lift. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Exhaling into that graceful swan dive. Bend the knees as much as you need to as you carry the heart forwards and down. Lifting up halfway, inhale. And as you exhale, left leg steps back, bring the knee to the floor, keep the toes tucked. Back of the hands lead the way. Inhale, carry you up into that half crescent lunge. Turn the palms up as you offer the arms forwards and down. So twice more. Push off that front foot to lift you up. So we're not collapsing in the hips, and try and get that lovely, again, that seamless quality of movement. Marrying the movement with the breath. So this time, both arms lift as you inhale, turning the palms to face one another. And as you exhale, left fingertips reach down towards the floor, right arm arcs overhead. Inhale through center. Changing sides, so right fingertips might even touch the floor. I've got Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, mine are nowhere near. Inhale. Once more each way. So you might just push the hips gently over to the right as you reach the left fingertips towards the floor. Then come back up through center. A little push of the hips to the left as you reach the right fingertips down. Lovely. Inhale, reach up. Lovely. Exhaling, fingertips come to the floor. Lifting up the chest as you inhale. And exhale, we begin to explore that hamstring stretch, hips draw back. Maybe keep the knee bent and the foot to the floor. And then lift the heart forwards as you inhale, just dropping that left hip. And then exhale, maybe exploring, beginning to peel the toes up towards the face. So we do that twice more. So hamstrings feel tight, keep bending the knee. Hamstrings a little loose, so you can always slide that front heel away from you, deepening that stretch. Lovely. So last time. And this time we'll plant the right foot, pick up that back knee, and step back into a downward facing dog, or simply stay on all fours. Lovely. Dropping down onto all fours, pick up the shins, cross the ankles, take an inhale, and exhale, lower the front of the thighs, the belly, and then the chest, and then stretch the toes out behind you. Hands wide, head hangs, inhale into that cobra. So keep pressing into the tops of the feet. Exhale to lower, so you feel really grounded through the lower body. Twice more, inhale, so rising up, head hangs. I'm just going to turn around to look at you, lovely. And get the sense of really earthing the chest, stretching it forwards and down. Lovely. Last time, inhale. And exhale. So this time, hands alongside the shoulders. Bend the knees, pick up the shins, cross the ankles. Push up as you inhale. Release the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Again, you might need to walk your feet in a step or two. Bend the knees, really deeply. Send your bottom back towards your heels, look forwards. And then as you inhale, left foot springs forwards. Exhaling the right. Big rise up to stand as you inhale. And exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Just for a moment, close the eyes, one hand on the lower belly, one hand on the chest. And just see if you can settle the breath back into that orbital breath just for a moment. Maybe you feel the heart rate is elevated a little bit. So again, finding that seamless quality of breath. You can again almost envisage, imagine that breath traveling up the front seam of the body as you inhale. And grounding and releasing down the back seam of the body as you exhale. It's going to build up our little flow, knowing that you can keep low. It really does depend on experience, energy levels, how you're feeling today. As you blink the eyes open, release the arms. And reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, catching hold of that right wrist with your left hand, and we'll step the right foot in front of the left, coming onto the ball of the foot. Trying to keep the hips square to the top of the mat, reach up as you inhale, and as you exhale, just come into that little half moon stretch. So you push your hips to the right and arc the body over to the left. And just notice if that right hip wants to swing forwards, and see if you can just draw that right hip back. I'm going to take the gaze down towards the floor. It feels comfortable for my neck and also adds that sense of grounding. Lovely. Let's come back through center, releasing the wrist. Keep the legs as they are. We'll take a forward fold. So you might find that you can only come as far as bringing your hands to your thighs. Some of us might be able to yield a little forwards and bring your fingertips down towards the floor. And so again, see if you can now just begin to push into that left hip. Sending the hips over towards the left a little bit, getting a really delicious stretch into your left outer hip. Remember, your hands might be higher up your legs. That's absolutely fine. Lovely. And then keeping that stability, slowly let's rise up, sweeping the arms all the way up. Separating your feet as you bring your hands to your heart. Let's start to build that little flow. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale all the way down. Maybe the legs a little straighter now. Drawing the heart forwards as you lift up halfway. And as you exhale, right leg steps back, knee to floor, toes stay tucked. Just one lunge. Back of the hands lead the way, inhale. Exhale as you bring the hands down, fingertips to floor. Lovely, here we go. Inhale, lift the chest. And as you exhale, find that half monkey stretch, hips go back. Maybe toes pull to face. Inhale, plant the foot. Now knowing you can stay here, just rocking backwards and forwards, stretching into the hamstrings, or next time that you plant that left foot, pick up the back knee and send the hips up and back into a pyramid pose, gazing towards that right heel. Inhale as you bend the front knee, lower the hips, Exhale, push the hips up and back. Pyramid pose or half monkey with the back knee down, twice more. Stretch the heart forwards as you drop the hips. And then lift all the way up and back. Beautiful. Last one, inhale. And exhale. This time we'll lower the hips. If you're in that half monkey, pick up the right knee. We're going to take that left leg all the way up and back into a three-legged dog. Stretch it all the way up. And then bending the knee, see if you can drop your left foot towards your right shoulder. So you're pointing that left knee up towards the ceiling like a little dog peeing on a lamppost. Beautiful. And then slowly keep the knee bent, but square up through the hips. And keeping that left heel quite close to the bottom. See if you can bring that knee towards the left elbow. Circle it to the right elbow. And then take it all the way back into that little dog peeing on a lamppost, dropping heel towards shoulder. Inhale. Exhale as you circle knee to left elbow, right elbow. And then back into that little dog peeing on a lamppost. Last time, circling that knee, trying to keep the heel quite close towards your bottom. Beautiful. Lovely. And then lower the foot back into that downward dog. On your next inhale, let's shift the weight forwards to plank. And as you exhale, knees might come down first as you lower yourself all the way down to the earth. Flatten the feet. You can widen the hands or keep them alongside the shoulder as you find that cobra. Inhaling, lifting up through the chest. Exhaling as you lower. Coming up from all fours, so inhaling onto all fours. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Beautiful. So you can walk your feet to your hands if you're feeling a little tired. Or inhale, left leg lifts all the way up and back. And as you exhale, step that foot forwards, top of the mat. Inhaling, right foot joins it. Exhale as you fold. Big rise up to stand as you inhale. Lovely. Exhaling, hands to heart. So we're going to try that with the left leg. So as you take the arms up, catching hold of left wrist. So the left foot this time steps in front of the right, coming onto the ball of the foot. If you feel wibbly wobbly, just keep the feet apart there. Reach up and then over, and just make sure that that left hip doesn't start to roll forward. So really draw that left hip back. I'm going to take the gaze down. That's because it helps my neck and also again that sense of grounding. Beautiful, a lovely half moon shape there. Come up through center. Now again, if you feel wibbly wobbly, separate the feet or begin to fold forwards. Hands might find the thigh, maybe the shin, maybe even the floor. So this time we get that little push of the hips over to the right. So you might feel it in your right outer hip, outer thigh there. Ooh, that's a nice stretch. Then slowly, with stability, we can rise all the way up. You can always separate your feet if you're wibbly wobbly. And then separating the feet, bring the hands to the heart. We'll do that little flow on the left leg. So inhale, lift up. Exhale carries you forwards and down. Really stretch the heart forwards and down. Lovely. Come up halfway, so shoulders away from ears as you inhale. Exhale, left leg steps back, knee to floor, toes stay tucked. Just one lunge, back of the hands lead the way, inhale. Exhaling as you bring your fingertips to frame the front foot. Lift the chest, inhale. And exhale, that first little hamstring stretch, so we'll all keep the back knee down. Ease the hips back. And then rolling with the breath, so knowing that you can stay here, inhaling, dropping the hips forwards. Exhaling back. If you want to join me, as you inhale, pick up that back knee. And as you exhale, straightening both legs, hips go up and back, drop the gaze towards that back heel. Inhale, gazing forwards, dropping the hips. And as you look towards that back heel, you can just check that that back heel isn't twisted, that the heel is dropping down in line with the back of the leg. Twice more, knowing that you can keep the knee down and just shift the hips back if that's preferable. Lovely. So the next time that you bend that right knee, let's all meet there, chest forwards. Pick up the back knee if it's not lifted already. And then we'll step back into that three-legged dog, sliding the right leg up and back. Remember, you can drop to all fours to do this, bend the knee. And then turn the chest towards the right as you offer that right foot towards the left shoulder. Dog peeing on a lamppost. You're trying to point that knee up towards the ceiling, stacking the hips on top of each other. Beautiful. And then bringing the hips square, keep the heel quite close to your bottom. See if you can round the back as you bring that knee to your right elbow. Circle it towards the left elbow. And then all the way back into that little dog peeing in a lamppost, heel to opposite shoulder. Inhale. Exhale as you circle that leg all the way round. Right elbow, left elbow. And then opening it up as you inhale. Last time, so that exhale takes you in that slow circle. Woo! Beautiful. And then slowly let's come back into that downward dog. Both feet to the mat, hip width apart. You can take a child pose if you're tired or join me in that little flow. Inhaling, rolling the body forwards to plank, looking forwards. With control, lower down if that means offering the knees down, feel free. Flattening feet. Grounding through the hips as you rise up into that cobra. Remember, the arms might be wider. Exhale to lower. Push up onto all fours as you inhale. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Now again, you can walk your feet to meet your hands. Take a little step, or last little bit. Right leg lifts up. Left leg lifts up. What am I on? Left leg. Inhale. And as you exhale, step that left foot forwards, top of the mat. It's all going so well. And then the right. Exhale as you fold over the legs. Inhale all the way up to stand. Beautiful. Exhale. Bring the hands down to the heart. Lovely. Again, just take a moment there. Maybe just hands to heart. Maybe close the eyes for a moment. And drop your awareness to your feet. And that sense of feeling grounded, connected to the earth beneath you, coming back to that circuit of breath if the breath feels a little bit ragged. And then just releasing the hands. We're going to step whichever leg back brings you to face me, to the long edge of the mat. So whichever leg that is for you. So you can see me. That's it. So you might need just to step off your mat. Then turn your heels in slightly, toes out. So as you bend your knees, coming into goddess stance, squeezing your knees out towards your little toes, and just make sure that your bottom isn't sticking out there, that your hips are dropping down. So it's a great one for grounding into your feet. Lovely, opening up through the hips. So there's a lovely form of yoga called Dhru Yoga, which is very grounding, very earthing, very slow. And this is taken from that tradition, and it's a grounding meditation. So we'll interlace the hands, just have the hands resting easily in front of you. Sink low into the legs, squeezing the knees out nice and wide. And as you straighten the legs like a coffee press, drawing up, you bring your hands to your heart. And then flip the palms down as you rebend the knees, almost again that coffee press down towards the earth, keeping the spine long. And then sweep the arms forwards and up as you straighten off through the legs, really rise up tall. And then sink deep into the legs as you bring the hands back, interlace in front of the lower belly. Lovely. Inhale, rise up. Exhale as you press the palms down, squeezing the knees out nice and wide, sinking the hips, spine upright. Inhale, rise up. Exhale as you take that big circle of the arms all the way back. And do this a few times, so you might want to close the eyes there. And the idea of this grounding meditation is to bring the energy down into the lower body, helps to ground us if we're feeling discombobulated. If you ever are feeling during this strange period a little bit discombobulated, it's a really nice one to do, just to again bring us back into our bodies when we're perhaps too much in our heads. Press the palms up towards the ceiling as you inhale. Exhale, release. Just one more round. Really nice to do. Nothing complicated. Trying to keep the knees tracking out towards the little toes. Last time, inhaling up. This time as you exhale, swing the hands all the way down to the thighs. So you might just want to keep your hands on your thighs, gently squeezing your knees out nice and wide, feeling an openness through the hips and a heaviness evenly through the feet to make sure that the knees aren't rolling in, pressed to the outer edge of the feet. You might be able to stick the bottom out now and bring your elbows to your inner knees and widen the knees. And those of you familiar with coming into a full squat might be able to bring your fingers down. I'm going to walk my feet in slightly, keep my heels out, my toes, heels in, toes out, and sink my hips down, coming into a full squat. That's not going to be for everyone's hips or knees. So remember the option of keeping the hips high and the hands on the knees. If you're with me in that squat, start to pull your hands down and feel your heart lift. So as the heel of the hand comes down, your heart lifts. Push into the soles of the feet so your bottom isn't sagging there. It's a strong pose, Malasana. That's why I'm saying it's maybe not for everyone. If you're in there, can you feel grounded through your feet? Can you come back to that breath? Ooh, great one for the hips. Beautiful. And then we'll all just release your fingertips to the floor. That might be bending the knees, turning the toes forward. So let's come into that forward fold. Allow the head to hang. Ooh. And then little toe heel of the feet, bringing them hip width apart or together. We're going to bend the knees. Just lifting the heels so you can come down into a little squat there if that's comfortable, or come to seated. And then drop your forehead down towards your knees, coming into that last little rounding off through the back there. Lovely. And then just lifting your gaze, seeing if you can bring your heels down and then your bottom, and then stretch the legs out. I saw lots of rolls there. That's a good way to come down. So give the legs a little bit of a shake there. Lovely. Oh, wiggle of the toes. Find that nice long spine, and then slide the right heel in towards you. So we can keep the foot on the floor on the inside. You can cross it over to the outside. You can lean into that left bottom and hook the left foot round, making space for that right bottom cheek. So making sure that you feel comfortable and balanced there. So if it's more comfortable to extend the left leg, feel free to. Left hand or elbow, wherever there's more space, squeezes that knee in. And just take a slow circle of that right hand behind you, bringing the fingertips to the floor. And then bring the gaze forwards. So quite often we're too worried about our heads turning to realise that what we're aiming for here is a movement through the upper back and the middle back. So take an inhale. And as you exhale, slowly, slowly turn the head. It's going as far as is comfortable. And then inhaling equally slowly, bring the gaze forwards, sitting up nice and tall. Exhaling, slowly turning the head, seeing if you can open through that back shoulder a little more. Last time, inhale. If it's more comfortable to keep the gaze forwards, do, or last time, turn of the head, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. And we'll settle there just for a few breaths, seeing if you can keep your shoulders as broad as your chest. That back shoulder isn't folding in. We're trying to roll that right shoulder back. Spine upright, feeling even across your sit bones. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly come back through center. So the left hand is going to take hold of the outside edge of your right foot. Other hand might be on the floor for stability. Now you might be able just to lift the foot a little bit to keep a bend in the knee. You might be able to straighten that leg and draw the leg almost across the body. So we're getting a stretch into the outer thigh, trying to keep the spine lifted. So if you need to keep the knee bent or just lower the leg, find that stretch in the outer thigh that works for you. Lovely. Slowly, slowly bend the knee. And this time the right hand takes hold of the outside of the foot, left hand to the floor. And again, you might just have the knee bent. You might be able to stretch that leg out and try and sit up nice and tall. I can see lots of legs doing lots of wonderful things there. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly bend the knee, bring the foot to the floor and stretch out both legs. Give them a shake there. So one side's going to feel very different to the other, I suspect, if you're anything like me. So let's give it a try with the left heel sliding in towards you. You can stay there. Rule of thumb tends to be you should be able to bring your big toe down to the floor if you're crossing the foot over. So if that's uncomfortable, bring the foot to the inside. Or if you're comfortable and confident, right foot hooks round and you snuggle your bottom down in between your heels. Lovely. Right hand or elbow, whatever affords you more space. And then slowly we circle that left hand just to the floor behind you, or even resting on the lower back. And then we'll bring the gaze forwards again, so we're not worried about what the neck is doing. We're getting that lovely bringing out through the spine as you inhale. And then as you exhale, we look over that left shoulder. Inhaling, slowly bringing the gaze back through center. And as you exhale, see if that exhale can carry you a little deeper into that twist. Last time, inhale. So if it's more comfortable to keep the gaze forwards, do so, or use that exhale to come into that twist, looking over that back shoulder if that feels comfortable. And just see if you're leaning from side to side or beginning to lean back. So you want that lovely sense of lifting up and out of the hips. Bringing out through the spine. Really nice, really good for our spine to do that. Chest open, shoulders open. Not holding the breath. Lovely, and then slowly come back through center. Legs stay as they are. This time left hand comes onto the outside edge of that foot. And we take that left leg across the body. So sorry, right hand's on the outside edge. Did I say that? Getting confused there. So you're getting a stretch across the outer seam of that leg, trying to lift up through the chest. So the temptation is we start to lean back to see if you can nudge the weight forwards right to the front of your sit bones. Lovely. And then bending the knee. So changing hands, left hand inside or outside of the foot, whatever works for you. I'm going to bring the other hand down for stability. And then take the leg out to the side. You might again keep the knee bent. You might be able to lift up nice and tall and stretch the leg out. Option always to hold underneath the leg. If that's a bit of a heavy lever to hold on to through the foot. Lovely. And slowly, slowly, let's release. Stretch the legs out, give them a little shake. And then bringing yourself back onto your mat. If that means you've got to have a little twizzle round. Lowering yourself down, bringing your knees back in towards your chest, just as we did at the beginning. Maybe having a little rock, side to side, a circling of the knees, whatever feels nice. Lovely. And just settling the heels down quite close towards your bottom. And spreading your toes, so feeling again really grounded through your feet. Push into the feet, lift the hips, come into that gentle bridge. So this time we're trying to bring your chest towards your chin. You might need to pick up your head and just slide it towards the top of your mat there. Feel the weight even through the feet. You might just want to stay here. You might even just want to lift and lower the hips a couple of times just with the breath. Or if you're comfortable holding that shoulder bridge, you might be able to physically tuck one shoulder blade and then the other underneath your back so you can interlace your hands. Push your little fingers into the floor and see if you can get that lovely curve of the belly and the chest up towards the ceiling, making sure the knees don't start to roll out to the side. And just take a couple of breaths there. It's quite hard to breathe, talk, and do bridge, I've worked out. Squeeze at the bottom. And slowly, let's release the hands. Fingertips to the floor so they can act like stabilizers, guiding you down. And when the tailbone touches down, just pause there for a breath or two. And then just come in for a moment into that full body stretch. Both legs extend, both arms reach back. Stretching it all out, exploring that sense of space. And then as you bring the arms back down alongside you, you're going to take a few minutes of Shavasana. So you might want to allow the arms to rest alongside you, just a few moments of relaxation. You might just want to separate your feet a little bit, have a roll of your feet, allow the toes, the ankles to feel really floppy. And then just flop the toes out, heels in, so you're nice and spacious across the hips. If that's uncomfortable for the lower back, just bring your heels back in towards your bottom, maybe walking them a little bit wider apart there, and allow your inner knees to knock together. Close the eyes. And again, if you're feeling a little bit full moonish, a little bit discombobulated, again, a hand on the belly or the chest can be quite reassuring. And perhaps come back to that orbital breath. Breathing in all the way up the front seam of the body. And breathing out, allow the breath to drop down through the back of the body. And very slowly now, just begin to deepen and lengthen the breath. Maybe a little wiggle, fingers and toes. You might want to extend the arms, extend the legs, coming into that full body stretch. Before you bring your knees back into your chest one last time. You might want to rock. You might want to just linger in stillness for a moment. And then rolling quietly, just onto one side or the other, it really doesn't matter. Just bring your knees up towards your chest. And just allow a moment for a very gentle, benign stretch of your lower back. And then slowly make your way up to seated. So I just wanted to end with, I was listening to the radio this morning, so if any of you do have to rush off, thank you very much for coming. But I was listening to the radio this morning and there's a lovely poet. He's a performance poet called Harry Barker. He was the youngest winner. He's a mathematician as well. He's quite extraordinary. And he's written this beautiful poem based on what we're going through. And I just thought I'd like to end with that, because I think, you know, we're all connected as we come together. Certainly I've appreciated these moments of connection. So I'd just like to share these words with you. I'm sure I can't do them as much justice as he does. I'll put them on Facebook. So it's called When This Is Over. When this is over, I will hold you closer than you've ever known. When you see me, you can squeeze me till you feel my very bones. How I long to let you know that I won't want to let you go. There'll be so much left to say, yet some things are better shown. I will wrap my arms around you for the seconds we have lost. Our words will find a way to wait as we locate the weight of us. Though we are changed, we'll find a sense of same about the way we touch. Though it is strange, we will embrace how long it takes us to adjust. The world of everything we knew is somewhere we cannot return. The world of everything that's new is one we'll build from what we've learned. We'd never dream ashes could rise again until we've seen them burn. And the next time I'm stood in front of you will feel like it's been earned. When the start has given way, it means so many ends can enter. When the heart is given space, it will forever tend to tender. Those affections kept at bay can once again descend to centre. Something we'll have come to yearn as hummingbirds connect to nectar. When our genetics show that everything within us remains connected beyond anything we've witnessed, we can admit the codependence of existence. Human beings were not meant to be kept distant. For those overwhelming moments when I felt like giving up, there was no point when I had worried we'd forgotten how to love. When the future's all we've got, well then it's got to be enough. All I know is when I'm low that I've wanted to be hugged. And if you'd rather have a handshake, that's absolutely fine. Even a wave for me saying, I'm glad you are alive. Whichever form it takes, when this is past and we've started again, I'll no longer take for granted any chances to connect. I thought that was beautiful. He does it far more justice than I do. I'll put it on Facebook for you. So thank you as ever for connecting with me this morning and each other. And namaste. Thank you, thank you. Let me unmute everyone for a moment.